your way as that situation develops. We next move to Southeast Asia, and in Cambodia, at least 7 civilians have been killed and 20 others injured in renewed Thai attacks along the Cambodia-Thailand border, according to official sources from Cambodia. Cambodia's defense ministry confirmed the casualties, while former leader Hun Sen said Cambodian forces retaliated after holding back for 2 days. Meanwhile, Thailand reports further losses on its side. The Thai army says 2 more soldiers were killed in border clashes, bringing the total military death toll to 3. 1 soldier died in Surin province after coming under indirect fire, while another was killed by a grenade attack near the Priya Vihar temple, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The strikes come a day after US President Donald Trump repeated his claim of ending 8 global conflicts, including the Thailand-Cambodia dispute. The escalation has marked the worst fighting since a ceasefire in July and a peace agreement reached in October during Trump's Asia tour. Both sides have traded blame, accusing each other of violating the ceasefire, and tensions have remained high since Thailand halted implementation of the deal in November following a landmine blast that injured a Thai soldier, an accusation Cambodia denies. We are joined by Dr. Astha Chadha. She is an associate professor of international relations at Ritsumeikan University, located in Tokyo, in Japan. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Chadha. As always, it's a pleasure. Of course, this was originally brokered by Donald Trump in July, and now things seem to be flaring up once again. What more can you tell us about this developing situation and how fast it has escalated?
Absolutely. I think, back then when I was discussing on your channel regarding the President Trump mediated Kuala Lumpur peace accords, even then we had expressed this concern that we don't know how long this is going to last, because even though the accords do in some way address the temporary conflict in itself, they do not address the unresolved territorial dispute, which is regarding the border demarcation and ancient temple sites, so on and so forth. And this recent incident just highlights the amount of mistrust that exists among public, because there is a public support as well. In some way, they are saying that this issue is kind of politicized to distract people from the other internal issues that relate to economy and security. But that being said, doesn't deny the fact that this peace accord today stands failed. It stands it lacks. Pretty much shows that there isn't enough political commitment to maintain the peace on the border. And lastly, one thing I must mention, we've long heard about ASEAN unity and stability, but there is a lot of relative silence from the rest of ASEAN members, apart from Malaysia, which is chairing the ASEAN summit this year. We do not see a lot of other ASEAN members trying to not interfere, but at least trying to broker some sort of peace. So this, even though it should have been an internal conflict treated as a bilateral one between 2 states and then ASEAN states trying to in some way restore stability, we do not see that happening. So no matter what President Trump says with regard to him having brokered certain peace, that was clearly very, very temporary.
Dr. Chadha, what cards do both sides hold? Of course, this peace deal was brokered a few months back now, but Cambodia is notably smaller than Thailand. It has a much weaker economy than Thailand. If you could explain the cards that both sides hold and what they want in this conflict.
I mean, see, one thing is the fact that it is a colonial, sort of post-colonial dispute that has stretched so far, because, there is, like I said, very little political commitment to actually resolving an undemarcated border. So that's one. And what that does is that eventually, I mean, if you look at both the sides, both Thailand and Cambodia, they are relatively smaller states, but Thailand clearly is economically more stable. It is a larger economy. It has definitely a larger force. But the risk here is that probably now Cambodia is also going to ramp up its defenses. Cambodia will have to ramp up both investment into the defenses and also procurement of defense equipment, because this conflict is clearly not ending. Even if it does stop temporarily on both sides, we do know that there is an economic sort of a crisis brewing in both the economies, and this would be, if it is politicized, then this would be the perfect opportunity for both sides to pretty much politicize a border dispute, an unresolved border, and take public attention away from the domestic issues that are prevailing in both the countries. And we do know that both of them are clearly, at least politically, they're not very, very stable at this point. So for this is pretty much bad news for both Cambodia and Thailand, because this leads to more instability, this leads to more anxiety among people, this leads to probably a possibility of higher nationalism on both sides. But the third thing is, both of them have so far not expressed any, they are, I hope they do look towards exercising restraint, but there have been no talks as such in terms of whether they can resume those peace accords, or would they want a third party to mediate. This is all pretty much bad news. And the fact that, like I mentioned, other ASEAN nations also do not seem very keen at this point to halt the conflict. They are asking for restraint, but that's all that they're doing. We do not see them actively participating and channelizing the ASEAN forum in some way so as to go beyond their usual affairs that relate to trade and regional economics, and going slightly into the regional stability domain, and trying to make sure that this conflict does not erupt ever again.
Dr. Chadha, stay with us as we have further updates coming